What's up, everyone? We are here to talk about the Academy Awards. 90th Academy Awards gave out Best Picture to The Shape of Water, a genre movie, David. A fairy tale, a romance between a woman and a fish man. And that is Best Picture winner. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I gave it a big rave. But let's talk about sort of what this means for genre movies. The Academy hasn't always embraced genre, but there's been a trend more and more over the last 20 years. So what do you think this means, kind of, is it a validation for genre movies?
I think it's a good sign going forward, because when you see a movie, let's say like when you're watching the Oscars last night and they show a clip of Phantom Thread, you're like, that looks like an Oscar movie. It has prestige just written all over it. Whereas you see something like a trailer for Get Out, you're like, what is this? You know, what is this, like thriller, horror, it's just all these other different genres mixed together, so you're not sure what it is. So it's great to see movies, these genre movies, winning. Again, this isn't the first time we've seen them nominated, but actually taking home some Oscar statues is great.
Jordan Peele won Best Original Screenplay for Get Out. So between Guillermo del Toro winning Best Director for Shape of Water, The Shape of Water itself winning Best Picture, Roger Deakins finally winning cinematography for Blade Runner 2049. It was a pretty good night overall for genre films. Looking back at at Oscar's kind of relationship with genre, it is notable that there really were only, you can make the case for 3, but definitely just 2 films that have won Best Picture that were clearly genre films: Silence of the Lambs, horror thriller, and Return of the King. I would make the argument that you could throw Birdman in there, because even though it's not a superhero movie, it is a fantastical story about superhero movies and superhero movie actors and a lot of other things too. But I think that one you can kind of cheat, and that one Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay. And then the Lord of the Rings films were all each nominated for Best Picture. Return of the King finally bringing it home, and it also won Screenplay. You'll notice from my notes, to get back to Get Out, it's also that category of screenplay, and yes, adapted and original, has generally been kinder to genre movies.
Yeah, I mean, even, we had Logan up, and it didn't win, of course, was up. And even though Get Out didn't win Best Picture, like we were talking about, it's great to see Guillermo win, Best Picture for Shape of Water. So either way, we still had a genre film win. And I think ever since they've expanded to doing, sometimes 9 movies on the docket for Best Picture, we've had Avatar, we've had even District 9, which I was shocked when that was nominated for Best Picture. That was one of my favorite movies that year that came out. I think this is going to be a pattern, Jim. I think you're right. I think we're still going to see the prestige movies. We're still going to see 3 Billboards. We're still going to see Phantom Thread. But this hopefully will open the door for other genre movies, maybe even some, big Marvel or a DC superhero movie to kind of to put their foot in the door.
Well, I mean, Black Panther, certainly looking ahead. Black Panther is all the rage right now. It's a huge hit, and it's also an acclaimed movie. So I think it does have a shot next year at things like Best Picture nomination, Best Director, Michael B. Jordan, Best Supporting Actor. It's certainly in the tech level, on the tech level of awards, it's got a great shot. And just even looking back at a lot of the films in the last decade and a half or even 20 years that have been nominated, you mentioned District 9, but there was also, Her, Inception, Gravity, even going back to like Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Ghost was nominated. Jaws, Star Wars. This one I think is notable, The Exorcist, for Best Picture, and it won Best Adapted Screenplay. So yeah, looking at like the screenplay category, that is generally where most genre movies have gotten their nominations and their wins. I mean, Back to the Future was nominated, Eternal Sunshine won, District 9 was nominated, Arrival. So it's definitely, there is a trend. Do you think it's kind of similar to, even when you look at the Emmys and like the way like Handmaid's Tale won this year at the Emmys, like, TV seems to be embracing genre, including Game of Thrones, Westworld, all that, in a way that film is beginning to catch up to.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, and it was the same way in TV too. Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite series of all time. And it was just, denied at the Emmys. They just wouldn't give it any credit. It's such a good series, but it was sci-fi. It was niche. It's like, oh, it's sci-fi. We kind of put that over there. So I think this is a good sign. I love what Guillermo said at the Oscars last night, encouraging young filmmakers that you can tell these stories that reflect real world events in a fantasy genre. You know, you can do it like you did with Pan's Labyrinth, like Shape of Water. And I like that he's encouraging young filmmakers, because I love these stories of like, look, they're reflecting what's going on in our world, but they're kind of telling this fantastical way, this beautiful way, which is different from doing like a standard historical pick or something like that. Like Dunkirk.
Well, that's what we thought about genre movies making a big dent in this year's Oscars. Hopefully, it's a trend that will continue in the years ahead. Check out the full list of Oscar winners, plus my review of The Shape of Water. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe on whatever platform you like to watch IGN.